If we can, we're going to summarize some of the things that we've noticed in looking at the screens and some of the small groups as you all have been discussing.
Okay, we saw pluses and concerns and suggestions. Why don't we start with some of those concerns so that we can come back to the big positives and pluses. And we also heard some fantastic conversations going on. I hope that you felt that you were able to get to some gritty conversation. There are folks that feel like, is this too idealistic? Are we expecting too much of this program? Is it just going to cause confusion, actually? There are folks who feel like the institution of the cameras may encourage everyone to improve their behavior, but after a while, this is a community member's concern, after a while maybe the police officers will go back to their old ways. Concerns about whether a police officer has the discretion to be able to turn off a camera at a certain time or not. And a real sense that this is only going to work if the policies are really good and public.
And then, of course, we have some amazing pros. The idea that treatment and behavior would be modified on both sides, both from community and from police officers. That the vantage point will be able to fill in information at times that is not able to be seen, that now can be brought to light in cases of issues. And also, we've talked about just the general idea of not just protection of the community, making the community feel safer, but also making officers feel safer as well, knowing that what they have done and the good things that they have done can now be seen as well. I noticed in one group they talked about that there are a lot of good things that our officers do, and oftentimes they don't get publicized. And so this may be another way to be able to communicate and figure out a way to get those things out there.
I particularly love these two comments. One person said, "This is going to make me feel more comfortable talking to police officers." And another person said, you know, I believe this was probably a law enforcement person, said, you know, the cameras are great, but this is absolutely no substitute for respect. And that's what we're trying to build.
And so as much as any of these are just tools to build the beloved community, we also want to recognize that none of this is a catch-all. Nothing will be completely wiped away, and trust is a process that both the community and the officers will be working together to make sure that we reestablish. That we recognize that every single angle won't be seen. We also know that as we work to understand what's the best times of usage, that we also need to think about community members. Because as much as we say that we want everything videoed, there might be people in the video that don't want to be videoed. And how we go about making sure the proper faces are blotted out and that all of the right information and the proper people have view. So we recognize that there's a lot to grow, but we definitely believe that this is a step in the right direction.
And let's keep this mutual conversation going with community input and the officers showing up in such amazing force to form these relationships that will help change our city.